Hey y'all, it's your captain for all things creative coming at you with a Sinners film fireside chat with one of my favorite people from the league. Jamie, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I know you and I were one of the first people in the group chat to see this. And I'm glad that I was able to come on and chat about this with you because I've been chatting about this
Mhm.
with anybody that I can. Such a great film. And I'm glad that I moved in to where my apartment is not a mess anymore. Because the last show that I did, I think it was Beverly Hills, I had like a little nook that I was like, I'm setting up the camera right here so they can't see anything else.
Well, I saw some of the pictures on Instagram too. It looks amazing. And of
Thank
course, you
you.
look amazing as always. So
Thank you.
I need to
Thank
get your
you.
workout plan for the summer because I'm trying to get like you. So
I'm just trying. That's it.
you better
I'm just
DM
trying.
me. Now DM me the diet and the workout plan, and then we can even, okay?
All right, I got you.
So now that we're all cozy, I saw you got your drink.
You got my
Cheers.
little wine.
I have I got my little water, so my throat don't
I got
get
my
dry
water
because I
too.
keep talking about yes, yes. Keep talking about Sinner.
Keep talking about the same thing.
I do, But let's start with a little spoiler review. Spoiler free, sorry, review for people who haven't
Okay.
seen the movie because we're gonna get into spoilers soon, and I need to give people time to click off if you haven't seen it.
Yes.
So, how would you describe this film without giving spoilers in a way that would encourage people to go see it? Go.
So for me, one of the things that I really loved about the film is I went into it thinking it was going to be a horror movie, like a vampire horror movie,
Mhm.
and was pleasantly surprised that yes, there was horror, there was gore, there was violence, there were all the things that we look for in a vampire creature film. But that almost seemed to be like the last thing on the filmmaker's mind. There was so much more going on, so much subtext, so many messages regarding religion, regarding community, regarding connection with ancestry, and how we
Mhm.
keep heritage alive in a world that is very much trying to erase identity. And it left with some questions on like who are the sinners in this
Mhm.
world that has been created by Ryan Coogler. So, if you are looking for a movie that makes you think and entertains
Mhm.
you for 2 hours, go see it. This film was it had all of it, and it was something for everybody. It was great.
See, now I'm gonna definitely see it again after you said that because I
I need to go see it
agree.
again.
You done convinced me to
Again.
fight the IMAX people and try to go see it again. So for me, I would say it's a love letter to black music through and through. I thought it was gonna be scary as well because I don't do scary movies. Like I don't even watch certain music videos because I get creeped out. And this film was filled with so much heart, and I think it also shows the different ways that people have resisted all the efforts, like dehumanize and like crush, our spirit. And it's just so beautiful. So that's a spoiler free review from both of us. So now you got to click off if you haven't seen this. And
We
you
gave you enough
cannot
time.
get
We're gonna
mad.
get into some things.
Exactly. Anything else we say, you can comment, but be nice, because we warned you. It's
Right?
spoiler time because we
Can't
got to
get mad
get
at me.
to the meat and potatoes. So first, let's do a very quick run through, very much like how we do on the lean. Shout out to, all the lean people who are on.
Cortez.
And if you're not subscribed to lean, what are you doing? And if you like lean, also subscribe to No Chaser TV because we do these reviews there too. Um, so let's get into just section by section because I see the film as like being split up into four sections. First, you have just the intro to all the characters. Then they split up and start tempting people, to come to the party. Then the third part is when everyone's back together again, having fun and they free. And of course, the last part is when the vampires really
There
go
we
in.
go.
So let's talk about each section's standout themes that just stick with you. So for me,
Yeah.
the first section, right? That's when we first meet Smoke and Stack, and that's when we first see Sammy up in the church and all of that. And I really loved that first view of the twins when they're leaning up against the car because I was like, is there like a twin for Michael B. Jordan? Like
Yeah.
I was so confused
The trailer, because the
because
trailer didn't give that. I just thought it was like different outfits or whatever.
yeah.
Like I wasn't. The trailer did a great job of being like it's
Mhm,
vampires, and it was a misdirection because I never even noticed that Michael B. Jordan every time they showed him in the trailer looked slightly different from the character, and it
mhm.
wasn't until I saw that I was like, oh shit, it's a twin. Okay, cool. Didn't realize that.
The way they did it, like they need to win all the things. Like any award show that snubs this film,
Listen.
they need to get roasted like to high heaven because the way you saw Smoke in this movie, his hand had like a tremor. So like Stack was the one that rolled the cigarette and passed it to
Hmm.
him, and it's just like that handle. I could not believe it.
Wait.
Like I was like, you cannot tell me that that's not two people.
Shantae, I
That
didn't
blew me
even
away.
catch that. I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah.
Like, and it's those little
Hmm.
nuances that
Hmm.
never caught that. I'm gonna have to go see it again and try to catch it.
Hmm.
It's I think Ryan Coogler did such an amazing job of writing and directing and giving us like an hour of getting to
Hmm.
know the characters.
Hmm.
Um, because this very easily could have just been like a black vampire movie. On
Yes.
paper, there's no reason for it to be as deep and as thought provoking as it was. It could have just been
Hmm.
a formulaic Hollywood vampire movie with black people,
Hmm.
and it still would have been great because we don't see that community in horror films represented.
Hmm.
That so I still would have gone and seen it and just been like, oh, this is a great movie. So he did a like I
Fantastic.
didn't even notice that. Like, look at you, Detective Shantae.
Well, in the end, the tremor was like the most noticeable. Remember when he was like
And I just thought it was
really
like
falling
I
apart?
just thought it was nerves. Like I mean, he survived some vampires, and
He
so
had
I
it the
thought he
whole
was just scared.
time.
I'm gonna have to pay attention. Look at that.
Yeah. But that scene, you see, I even want to watch it all again too, just to get the little difference because I know there are way more nuances. Like, for example, remember when there was like the snake in the truck, and
Hmm.
one of them had the knife and threw it to the other one, and the other one
Yeah.
killed it. And like, it just shows how in sync the twins are from just the beginning. And their names actually come from the Bible. Like it's Elijah and Elias, right?
Hmm.
And I believe Smoke is Elijah and Stack is Elias.
Okay.
And Elijah, he's like the main hero that fights Jezebel and all those people, which is so interesting. Like this film has so many layers because when you think about all the different sins and sinners that you see, a lot of them had that Jezebel spirit. They were like, have a relation when they were married, all kind of stuff, right? And it's like Smoke, he was the one who we find out, kills the dad to protect his brother. So it's like Smoke, he definitely was giving like the arm of power,
Yeah.
very much like in line with Elijah in a lot of ways, because Elijah had to fight off all the prophets of Baal and like, yeah, he stood up to Jezebel and all that stuff. So like I was seeing it. But another scene from the very beginning, before they split up, the church scene, right, where everybody's all in white.
Yeah.
And I just remember the church feeling so dead, kind of, because it starts off when he walks in with his guitar and he has to scratch. You don't know
Yeah.
anything, and it's weird how his dad doesn't like run to him, comfort. Like if I saw my child like that, with, like scratches on his face, I would be like, "What happened?" But like the dad is just like, I don't know, just giving like maybe an "I told you so" kind of vibe. I don't like that. Like I definitely was feeling a lot of just not negative, but just like the problems with the church in subtle ways, in those scenes where you see the
Yeah.
church people and then the interactions with the father. And then even when Sammy was reading the Bible, they read that scene. about temptation, and again, temptation is like a big theme in the movie, which we
Yeah.
talk about. So I just thought, again, everything was so thoughtful and well done, and you could see kind of the disconnect between father and son in a lot of ways. Like, what did you think about how Sammy was introduced, and even like the way they framed the church and his beliefs?
So the interesting
Mhm.
thing is I'm not sure if you know this, but I grew up in the church. My stepfather was the
Mhm.
associate pastor of the church I grew up in, and his
Mhm.
dad was the pastor. So church was all that I knew. I grew up Pentecostal
Mhm.
Assemblies of God, which is essentially white people Southern Baptist. So I grew up with the rowdy service and everybody speaking in tongues and the tambourine and the running around, and like that's the church I grew up in. And so my experience as a gay man is complete like that scene immediately like stirred up some religious trauma that
Mhm.
I had. And it's
Mhm.
interesting that the movie itself doesn't portray either side as blatantly right or blatantly wrong. So for those of us who may have some religious trauma, that sounded like that introduction to him is like I've been there. Like the story in the
Mhm.
Bible, the prodigal son, the Bible
Mhm.
uses that parable as a way to be like when somebody comes after finding out that they went the wrong way, they went the wrong path, and they're
Mhm.
coming home. You're supposed to embrace them and welcome them and give
Yes.
them grace and make sure that they know that this is where they're supposed to be, that they are loved. And Sammy, Preacher Boy, got none of that. And I
Right?
immediately connected with that. And I was like, okay, this is like we're getting into some religious themes. And then I see online
Mhm.
where people are like, okay, well, that's how it's supposed to be. You're out there in the world and it's not pretty, and you come home and it's I told you so, and the dad tried to warn
Mhm.
you, and it's like
Mhm.
there's a disconnect of empathy.
It's a
And
disconnect.
what people
Mhm.
don't realize is that so many people leave the church because of that disconnect and lack of empathy. And like you just said, if I saw my child
Right?
bloody and bruised, and the mom jumped up, Sammy, and the dad said, "No, sit down," prevented the
Mhm.
mother from showing that person empathy. And the only thing I can think of is how many times does religion, and religion
Mhm.
itself is not bad. It's when men
Mhm.
get a
Mhm.
hold of it and misinterpret it and use it for their own devices. Uh,
Mhm.
and it's just like y'all are clearly ignoring what the Bible is telling you to do with people that are coming back to the church looking for some reassurance. And I
Right?
thought that that was just like, oh, this is how we're starting off right off the bat. But then as the movie progressed, there were a couple of times where you were just like, oh, the dad was telling you this. So there wasn't any like
Mhm.
the dad's wrong, the son's wrong. It was this is real life. It's messy and we make
Yeah.
mistakes. And then you're looking for some grace from somebody that should be giving it to you, but they are so blinded
Mhm.
by indoctrination that they can't give that to you
Mhm.
for a second. So yeah.
Mhm. Speaking of real life, we got one of the realest lead members. Jasmine jumped on. Hey,
Hey,
can you hear
Jasmine.
us, Jasmine?
Hi, you guys. I'm sorry, I'm still in the dark.
It's
Oh,
fine. You're alive.
I
That's all that
listen.
matters.
You are a soldier for even joining us, because I was praying for you. I was hoping,
Look,
I don't really
it'd be
get
okay.
lights off in
Mhm.
well, Tennessee, that's where I'm at. And I
Mhm.
don't really just have that many times when it's lights off, but when it is,
Mhm.
it's
they have
off.
so it's off.
Yeah,
And you
Mhm.
gotta
same.
you
I
gotta
mean,
wait.
Jasmine, you know Texas. Like we don't pay
Yeah.
our light bill at all. So when the lights when the
For
lights go
real.
off here, they stay off for a few
They
days.
stay off. And you're like, what? I think that I give it about another hour or two. I think it should be fine. But I was listening to you guys about that scene, and honestly, I just think the parallels of it is like crazy, because I heard Jamie say, like, some people were like, oh, that's what it is. You go out there and you bring back some shit,
Yep.
and that's just that's how it is. And I think that my lack of seeing it in anyway, and I've looked at a lot of, like, takes on it. I'm
Mhm.
trying to see where I really lie with how I feel
Mhm.
about it, but that church scene went way past me. And I think it's
Mhm.
because you got, there's people that automatically feel like, okay, that's not right. Okay, life is life, and so you got to live it, and so what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But it takes some people a little bit longer time. And I think I was that longer time because I also grew up in a church. My
Yeah.
family
Mhm.
had a family church, and in the back of my mind, even though older Christians might consider us worldly, but
Yeah.
I still what I'm saying, but I still feel like in the back of my mind I still walk in those steps,
Mhm.
and kind of like if I'm about to do something, I'm like I don't know, because it just was pushed in me so strong that
Mhm.
thought didn't even cross my mind, like, okay, that's normal. Okay, what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
hell no, you can't hug him. I told him to come up here, what I'm saying? So that was just crazy for me to like see, like, damn, that did happen. That did have that, like, that daunted feeling when he walked in that first time, and then they all were
Mhm.
white. And so I really enjoy listening to that part for sure.
Right? And like I grew up in the church too, so I definitely felt Jamie what he was saying, and I'm glad that you made it, Jazz, because we're still in the beginning, so you good, okay? So let's go to like the next part where they split up, because remember, it's kind of like a race for time to
Yeah.
get things together before nightfall, right? So you have um Sam, your preacher boy, and Stack that take one car, and then you have Smoke with like all the goods. From there to when, like, the party set up, there's a whole lot of gems. So I wonder what scene stood out to you guys, because for me, I really liked when Smoke parks at the store, right? And he sees the little girl, he gives her a little economics lesson. And I know Jasmine's a teacher too, so like I felt that
Right.
scene from my heart, because I was like, we cannot be relying on these institutions to institutionalize our children, and we have to teach each other any way we can, anytime we can, especially people who are older and wiser, quote unquote, because we got the Shannon Sharps out in the world doing foolishness, but
Oh, not Shannon.
whenever
Oh,
we
that got
can, I'm
crazy.
sorry, I didn't mean to, let
Not
nobody catch
That
us
Shannon.
was crazy.
straight. But if you are older and wiser, how about I say that? If you are older and
Because
wiser,
older doesn't always mean wiser.
Okay.
exactly. We should definitely be trying to pour in to the youth. And I loved how, he taught her how to barter, and even the lesson that he taught the guys that were trying to steal, the little hard lesson where he like pow them, but then he passed them up, so that maybe they learn the hard way not to steal from anybody again. But I thought that scene was amazing. And of course when Annie and Smoke reunite, and you see her blessing the little mojo bag, and he tempts her by saying, "Oh, I want you to fry fish," but they got it popping because apparently his body didn't forget her. So he got her to go,
In
you
another
know.
language too. She said it in
Listen,
another language.
Exactly. So like
So
those are the main two scenes that popped out to me. But what are the scenes in that section again? Like when they split up and they're trying to get the team together, trying to get everything together. What scenes popped out to you in that segment of the film?
Jasmine, you want to go first?
I mean, I I think my favorite part, and it might be vulgar.
Okay.
Not you haven't. Hold on,
I
Jasmine.
didn't say. I mean, of
Not you
course, I love the
lusted.
whole movie, but that little one part, because they've been doing this debate of like, okay, who likes Smoke and who likes Stack, the
Yeah.
Mhm.
different personalities and things like that. I mean, in my age, I should be like the Smoke, but when he went up to Cornbread, when
Toxic.
Stack went up went up to Cornbread, and was like, she might even let you put the peanut in her mouth. I was like, oh,
Listen.
wait a minute now.
You said, hold on.
Uh, now hold on now. I like that type of carrying on now. Hold on.
I, see, that's what the pastor was talking about at the beginning.
Right. That's what I said. I had to figure it out somehow. And that was the way, honey. But no, I just like that he was just him in general.
Yep.
But I mean, I love Smoke and stuff like that. But that scene right there, I cracked up. And
Because
she
the
was
wife was
like,
like,
How much?
Get this. Don't be stupid. Go
How
get this
much?
money.
Okay, and get that and that pita in my mouth. But anyway, but I just think that just seeing the different personalities and kind of seeing who you
Mhm.
resonate with was really just my thoughts about it. I like that they split up. I like that they
Mhm.
end up showing us who was who.
Mhm.
But and also the scene um at the train station. I like a good
Yes.
drunk old man. Now, it's
Mm.
something about him. I like he got a lot of knowledge, he got a lot of wisdom, and I
Mhm.
just like that was a good addition to me. I've loved Delroy.
Legend.
Mhm. Delroy
I've
Lindo,
loved him
yes.
since Crooklyn, so I love seeing him in different roles. I know I watched a little bit of that Hulu show with Kerry Washington and stuff like
Yep.
that. So I just those were my two scenes.
Oh yes,
Um.
just to jump in quick, Delroy Lindo Slim, amazing. Like,
Yeah.
and he wasn't just a drug; he was self-medicating because he been through some stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
remember he saw the chain gang, and
Yeah.
what he saw friends like those are people he knew that were locked up. And then he talked about someone being lynched, and that scene where he turned the pain into music, I was like,
Mm.
Mhm.
that's it. That
Split
is the
second.
Mhm.
alchemy
Split
and the
second like that.
magic
Yeah.
of black music, black art, black spirituality. He captured that so well. They need to give him his flowers. But yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead, Jamie. I'm sorry.
Listen, Delroy is one of those that is a legend for those who
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
so sadly doesn't get the flowers that he deserves outside
Mhm.
of your community. We've seen the Cicely Tysons and these
Mhm.
people that you see, and you're like, oh, if you got this person to be in your movie,
Mhm.
you know that this is a project because you don't
Yeah.
sign
Yeah.
on to just anything. He's paid his dues and he is in stuff and things that he is in, he instantly elevates it to a level of credibility where you're like,
Mhm.
oh, he's about to turn in a performance.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that they split up because it allowed us the twins thing could have been very hokey. It could have been like, okay, we're
Yeah.
just doing twins for the sake of twinning.
Parent
Um,
Trap.
but yeah, exactly.
Right.
The fact that they gave us an opportunity to get to know the twins independently of each
Mhm.
other and see how they
Mhm.
interacted with their pasts, particularly their love interests, how they go about recruiting people, I thought was really, really
Mhm.
smart because each of them, Michael B. Jordan, like, look, he's a movie star. Nobody's ever confused him for an actor. What
Yeah.
I will say is I love the fact that Ryan Coogler has put him in a lot of his projects, and you can see the growth and the mentorship between the
Mhm.
two of them. His performances and his little nuances between the two characters, I was like, okay, Mike, like,
Yeah. He did
okay,
that.
you're doing some stuff. I thought
Yeah.
it was fantastic. I will say, and you guys can attest to this. I was watching this film as like a guest. Obviously, I was a
Mm.
visitor because this movie was very much about a very certain community. It was about the black community. It was a love letter to the black community. And
Yeah.
I have heard just with different movies, we're tired of movies about slavery. We're tired of movies about Jim Crow. We're tired of movies about our trauma. This very easily could have been that. And I
Yeah.
have never seen a film set in the Jim Crow South and thought this is a beautiful movie. But Ryan Coogler and the
Mhm.
way that he shot the desert and the
Mhm.
train station, everything just seemed beautiful. And he was able to find the beauty in situations, and he never focused on trauma. That scene where they're going past the chain gang, and Delroy is talking about the lynching of
Mhm.
his friend,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and it was like I'm not you can see the pain in his voice and he and in his face and in his eyes and in a split second it was like, but I gotta keep going because what else am I gonna
Mhm.
do? What am I gonna do? This doesn't define me, so I'm just pushing. And it was a beautiful moment because I felt like it encapsulated essentially what your community has done for generations. Like what are we gonna do? We're gonna sit here and just continue to harp on the shit that these people are doing to us. Like
Right.
we're just going to push it forward. I loved that they put in root work
Yep.
with
For sure.
what's her name, Wunmi's character.
Movie
Yeah.
Also,
Masaka.
Yeah.
I hope I'm saying her name right.
yeah,
Yeah.
one anything that she is in, I'm watching because like
Mhm.
Yeah. Same. I love
fantastic,
her.
and she has this quiet like commanding presence where I was just like, I need to just see her. need to see whatever it is that she's doing.
Mhm.
This whole like, and I didn't even realize that an hour had gone by and we ain't seen no damn vampires. Like nobody's
Yeah.
talking about vampires. Like I was so just like,
Hmm.
yes, give me more of these people. I'm invested in every
Yeah.
single person that is on my screen right now. I'm invested in this.
Amen. It was awesome. So then they all get back together, right? And then we get the juke joint moment of freedom before the vampires technically, descend. And of course, everyone's talking about that scene where, Sammy plays
Mm.
and Delroy Lindo again coaches him
Hmm.
into the griot lifestyle, and you get that cut of him explaining, like, this is something special passed on by ancestors. It's not like the religion that was shoved in our face. This is our kind of spirituality. It's the way we minister to each other. It's like, it's very sacred. And of course, when Sammy sings and plays, you see the ancestors come and party with them. You see people twerking in the future to
Okay,
the
the twerking was
music. You see the
crazy.
roof on fire, and of course that attracts the vampires. But like, yes, what are your thoughts on like that section of the movie? That scene, it blew me away. I just want to know how y'all felt about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Um,
Jasmine?
yeah, I actually went to see it the first time with some teacher friends. And
Mm.
they were white. And one of them had already seen it before and she was too happy to see it again. So I was like,
Not you
let her
side eyeing
have
her like,
it.
Too
I
happy.
can't wait till you see this. I'm like, okay, girl. Good grief. No, but
it just came out. Calm down.
like for real. Like you need to go see IMAX. Okay, damn. But no, I'm so glad that she well, she did it for my birthday and things like that. So I was like,
Oh,
okay. But just seeing her perspective on it after that, she was like, that was her favorite part. She was
it
like,
was.
she was like, just the symbolism of all the things, all the dances, all the stuff that comes from you guys, like, because she's really down. She down for the people now. I don't say many, but she is a little down for the people.
Okay.
But that part right there, that was really good to see. I saw that girl twerking, I was like, oh Lord, so we doing this. Okay. But I love seeing the symbolism or whatever the case with the Asian friends, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
That I was like, okay, so they because one of my favorite movies is Memoirs of a Geisha. I don't know
Oh
why.
yeah.
I just that's one of my favorite
Another
movies.
beautiful movie.
It was so beautiful, and I
Yeah.
love just seeing just that little piece of it, like the geisha girls, like how they was like really into it, that culture. And I was glad to see that he added that. And I also, we haven't talked about them, but they were some really intricate characters too. But just seeing that scene with added with them, because they're engulfed in our culture. We get our nails done by people
Mhm.
that do that. They sell majority of the hair store, owns majority of the hair stores in our community. So they're really woven in to our community. So I was glad to see
That's
that he
true.
incorporated that too. So
I
Amen. Check.
again, this was for me another scene that very easily could have been hokey. Like it could have been like, girl, what is this? Because the tone of it was so different from the like up until then, it had been like very serious, like with some humor mixed in,
Mhm.
obviously. But the tone of this, it almost felt like a reprieve of the seriousness. And it was like, this is our time. The whole purpose of you guys being here is to celebrate your blackness, to celebrate your
Mhm.
ancestry. And I think that this was a key scene to really tie in to that. You are everything that came before you, and you
Mhm.
are everything. What you do today is going to be everything that is to come from you.
yeah,
um
Mhm.
and like Jasmine, your friend said, it was very interesting that they went through the history of music. And you're like, you so often, like with the rock and roll, you so often forget the Jimi
yeah,
Hendrixes and the black
yeah,
guitarists and everything that
Mhm.
comes from black pain, black suffering. And it goes back to Delroy's speech in the car where it's like I could either choose to like sit here and wallow in it, or I'm just going to play music and I'm going to channel that into something. I'm going to
Yes.
channel that into joy. I'm going to channel that into dance. Because if not, this is just going to eat me up.
Yeah.
And something that was meant to be painful was just an overt expression of joy. And I love that we did get a good, what, 15, 20 minutes in the juke joint where it was nothing but just like fun
Joy.
and
Hmm.
celebration and an
Mhm.
ability to let loose. And again, the fact that it was a space created by Black people, specifically for Black people, as a way to get away from the horrors of what was very real going on in the Jim Crow South. And for just a night, you could come in there and you could drink and you could eat, you could play cards, you could dance, and you're free in the context of these walls. This is
Right.
where you belong. I thought that it was a beautiful scene. It was funny. The music was great, but Jasmine, to your point about the Chinese people,
Hmm.
people have gone back and forth. I've seen online about whether or not they needed to be included, and
Oh yeah.
obviously after that, the history. And I thought that it was very important for them to be included, not so like, of course, for historical context because they were very much
There.
there in the Jim Crow South.
Mhm.
People forget that
Hmm.
after Pearl Harbor, like the Japanese, like they were very much in internment camps here in the U.S. And then after that, just kind of got like, okay, good luck to y'all, figure out where you're going to go. But I thought that it was for guests of outside the Black community, it should have been a message of like, do you see what we were doing at a time when Black people weren't allowed to drink from the same water fountain? We were there
Yeah.
in that community.
Mhm.
Like, we were offering services. We were bridging the gap when white people wouldn't let Black people sell them anything. They weren't
Mhm.
allowed to have their businesses that let white people in, but for some reason, these people were, and they were there. And somehow 60, 70, 80 years later, that history has been forgotten, and these communities have adapted the white imperialism and the racist mentality of white supremacy. And it's like, your ancestors weren't here for that.
Yeah.
They were over there doing things. They were at the juke joints. They were in there. Like, how did we get from that point to completely forgetting where y'all came from? And
Hmm.
now y'all are enabling the very same racist shit that your ancestors were actively trying to fight against. Like, I thought that was very smart,
Mhm.
and it again, you see online, it's prompted a lot of conversation
Yep.
about that. And then, like, I know we're going to get to it later, but then my community's whining about like, why weren't we included? And it's like, baby girl, this ain't a calm down. This isn't about you. This ain't
Mhm.
about you. Like, we weren't there during that. We weren't in the Jim Crow South. Like, be very serious. Calm down. Yeah, I thought that whole scene, like, I loved that for 20 minutes. Like, it was just, all right, we're here having a good ass time.
Yeah.
And to your point, Jamie, there are some people who are pointing out that like if you look at the scene where Smoke was downtown and they were going back and forth between,
Yep.
the shop for the black people on one side and the shop for the white people on the other side, that there was a shop that was selling,
Yeah.
I think, tamales or something like that,
Yeah,
Mm.
I
right?
saw
So
that in the time. I was like, wait.
Oh,
yeah,
I
so
didn't see
there was a
that.
little nod there,
Dang.
but in terms of, again, like that question of what what does it mean to make a film that is about a specific story, specific time, and a specific way that people celebrate their humanity. And Ryan Coogler, he answered that. It's like you just focus on the real, you focus on the people, the stories, and then with Sammy being the focal point, you kind of see his like coming of age, first when he's
Yeah.
in the church, like we said in the beginning, where it's like very much walled up, cold and dry. Even his own dad is not that warm to him.
Right.
Where we're in this juke joint where people are really connecting, they're helping each other, they frying fish for each other, they're, painting signs for each other, they are fellowshipping together in a real way, dancing, having
It's
joy.
church.
And the
It's
wall,
what
Yeah.
exactly.
church
Yeah.
I
should
thought that
be.
was true church. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like
It's
that
community.
idea of the symbolism of like the walls burning down and like piercing through time with all the answers. Is like true, like human connection and joy and love. All that stuff is timeless, and it
Yeah.
transcends even race. Because, like Jasmine pointed out, the couple, I believe it was Grace
Yeah,
and
Grace.
Bocho, right? They were able to connect to the music too, and they connected to their ancestors and their way of dancing, and that's what happens when we are real with each other. And I think we cannot be truly human and live into our full potential without being in community with each other. And we saw again that the vampires wanted that power so that they could connect with their ancestors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ancestors, sorry. So that leads us to the vampire part. And it's, and again, I want to preface, the sections by saying that like Ryan Coogler did seamlessly blend everything together because he
Yeah.
alluded to the vampires from since the beginning, right? When they had that little cartoon about how, there's like African griots and like indigenous fire keepers, and then when somebody's really like powerful or talented, it attracts evil, and you saw the red eye
Yeah.
vampire kind of illusion from since the beginning. So it's not to say that there was only vampires in the last part because they alluded to it, and then we saw the Native American
Mm-hmm.
land
That's what I was
protectors
just thinking
try
about.
to stop Remick before when they were still in the sunlight in the daytime. They had him burning up in that sun. I was like, good
Listen,
job,
they were on his
They
Aptox.
ass.
ran his ass
They
right
Yes.
were
on
on his
down.
ass.
They
It
had him
was
like
on with
Toby
them.
on the plantation in the sun. They were
Oh,
gonna burn him up in the sun. I was here for it. But of course, he got into the clan people house. And of course, by the end of the movie, the vampires come and run amok. Now, the scene that I love the most from the section was with Cornbread when he was trying to get in. And you see people kind of putting the pieces together. It's like, why you're big behind can't just come in. What is happening? That was one of my favorite scenes because it was funny, but again, informative. You get the vampire lore about, vampires needing to be invited in, and then you see the garlic stuff. But I just thought the way Ryan Coogler introduced the vampire lore and the vampires was just so well done. He
yeah.
did it in a way that felt natural, and again, very true to the characters. And I did like the dancing. Like I'm a musical girly, so
Yeah.
all the music was popping. Like I like the little Irish
I was like,
dancing.
okay,
I like
Not a little
I'm
rain
doing a little
dance.
something.
I loved it all. What stood out to you guys from the vampires, descending on the juice joint to the end? What were your favorite scenes before we talk about like the bigger themes? Because I know Jamie got, Jamie got things to do.
I
So
got.
go ahead.
I can stretch until like 8:15.
Okay, okay.
A good
So you
30.
so you go first, and then Jasmine, and then we'll get into like the questions.
So I thought, of course, this is where it gets to be, a vampire movie. And I thought, again,
Mhm,
it didn't change tone. It still stayed true. The characters didn't all of a
mhm,
sudden start acting stupid. They stayed true to the world building that Ryan Coogler had done. I agree
mhm,
with you. I was talking with another friend about this movie a couple of days ago, and the cornbread scene was really the only one that made me uneasy because
mhm.
Cornbread was already built up to be like this lovable teddy bear guy. Like he was the
Yeah,
muscle, but
yeah.
like, if he wanted to do something, he could do something. And to see like the subtle change in his demeanor to be
Mhm.
like, come on, let me in. Let me in. That
Yeah.
just unsettled me. And I also really like that Woony's character, he doesn't try to drag her fish. He was like, you use old grease. You have a vampire trying to
It
get
was
in. She was like, no, hold on.
Disrespectful.
I'm a lot of things, but I don't use old grease. And it was just
Okay.
like those little things that are like cultural. Like, okay.
Yeah. Now you can talk
And
about a lot now. Hold on, but not the
yes,
fish.
Thank
not
you,
the fish. You're
Jasmine.
not gonna get the fish. Um, and it kind of to me was like a lot of times with vampire movies, they become these soulless creatures. But for this, it's like was terrifying because he was like he's still him. Like he's retaining his memories. He's using colloquialisms
Mm,
and he's talking to these people that he's known for his entire life and using things that he
mm.
knows are going to rile them up to try to gain
Yes.
access into this. And I thought it was That was really terrifying. But for me, the part that really stood out was I forget his name, the white vampire, the main vampire. Uh,
Remick, yeah.
yes,
From it.
Remy. Um, he was making a very good case to be on
Yeah.
his side because he was like, "Hey, you got these white supremacists out here that are literally coming to kill you. Like, I'm happily to get my group because I hate racism. They did that same shit to my community. He was Irish. Did the same shit to me.
Mm,
They used Bible verses. They came and they stole my land. They enslaved us.
mm,
Like, I'm on your side. We want community." And to me, it was the symbolism of the vampires as these blood sucking villains craving community and using music to connect that was like
mm,
the people that were spouting off Bible verses and using Christianity were the white supremacists. They were
mhm,
coming to kill you. So while they're over here using God and the name of God to spout these racist views, like I'm telling you, I don't like that. I'm offering you eternal life. Because, I mean, did they kill anybody? Not really, because the people rose again and were very much alive. So it was very much that this is terrifying. Like a non-racist vampire is offering you strength to fight the people that are oppressing you. This sounds like a pretty good
mm,
deal to me. But then you have these people that are like, these are evil spirits, these are this. And to me, it was very much like you're holding on to what religion has told you is evil, but you have these people saying, "Baby, I can set you free." And it was this kind of gray area of like, who's the bad guy here? Because at the end of the day, you're still alive and like doing all these things. It was that was the scary part to me. You didn't leave that scene feeling like there was anybody that was a bad guy. You were just like, I'm glad
mm.
you're alive, but like you there's still white people out there that are trying to kill you. So like, my God, maybe you should have gone with the
Right,
other
my
guy.
God.
Mhm. Jasmine, I know you had thoughts about this part too. Let's go. What are the scenes
Um,
that got you thinking that just stayed with you
I
from
mean,
that section?
I feel like we all go into movies with different like favorites. I'm a love story girl, so I you
Oh.
know what I'm saying. So I was paying attention to a lot of the the differences from Annie
Mhm.
and what was the
That's her
white
name.
girl?
Annie.
What's the white girl name?
Mary.
Mary, my bad.
Mary, yeah.
Mary.
my,
Annie
my
Annie
white
was
girl.
with Smoke and Mary was with Stack,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I enjoy seeing the differences. I didn't say at first, but Sammy's voice for him to be
Mm,
such a small frame and such a
that
young
Mhm.
deep.
young
I
man.
was like,
How old is he
wait,
again? Oh no, hold
please, Jasmine.
on. Now wait a minute, everybody.
Now
No,
wait
but
a minute.
but no, his voice it was so smooth and it just didn't seem like it
Mhm.
would come out his body. I enjoy seeing the pushing the button, like licking the ice cream,
Mhm.
Pauline. I enjoy him, Stag listen to my nephew, you know what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
enjoyed that. The cornbread scene, I feel like every movie that cornbread is in, I don't like him. I need to
Oh.
know, um I need to know. It's
Damn, y'all
like two
strict
other
in here.
movies. It's like two other movies that I've seen, and I did not like cornbread. I already knew he was fugazi when I seen him in that damn picture. Um, so, but it was cringy. It really was.
Mhm.
I really understand what Jamie is saying by that being like uneasy, and it
Mhm.
was cringy. I enjoy a good fight, like with
Mhm.
like your love for somebody and the right thing to do. So that fight with Stack and Smoke,
Mm,
that I was like my heart was racing because I didn't know what was gonna do. And I knew he said that,
Mhm.
you always take care of me, and it just went blank. I knew something. I knew
yeah.
something.
Oh.
He loved him too much, and I understand. I really do understand why he let him live and protected
Oh.
him, or allegedly protected him at the end. I
Mhm.
enjoyed the end shooting all them people
Mm.
that came to try to motherfucker. You said it what ain't no more KKK. Now you a liar, and I told you when with my teacher friends, and when that man said that early on, he was like, "Oh, there ain't no more KKK. That's in the storybooks,
Mm.
like that like that shit was just made up, and we just all chuckled like, oh, okay, ain't no more KKK."
So we lying now.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it was just, that all this stuff. Like I'm a horror girl. I love scary movies, so I really enjoyed the vampires aspect. I am a vampire girl. Like I've looked at True Blood. I've looked at, Vampire Diaries.
Right.
Well, Interview with the Vampire, the sequel. I mean, not the sequel, but the series and I'm a really big and Twilight. I'm a really big
Mm,
vampire girl. So that really was one of the main reasons why I watched it. I like Michael B.
mhm,
Jordan as far as just like knowing that he's a good guy. He hasn't had no issues and things like that. And like I've said in our group chat, like I ain't never looked at him like a
Yeah.
sex figure.
yeah, yeah.
But it was something about them goats. And it was something about Stack talking about that Peter. I'm sorry I keep bringing it up,
Listen,
but um
even
it
if
was
you had a twin, I let him run a train.
okay,
Oh.
chew. Okay. Very big chew. But I had a real attraction to Michael B. Jordan like that. I was like, okay, so he really, because I really just I'm not like oh my gosh, I like Idris Elba. I'm not like one of those girls, but I mean I do like. I mean I have been that way for Denzel Washington. That's the only man.
So-
She said,
But that's the
no.
only man now. Okay, but I mean, just all of it. Even when they came back in that Coogee sweater, she got her edges
Mm,
slicked up in a high pony, got on a
I
little mini
said,
girl, some high pants.
okay.
Okay, girl. Yeah,
mm.
yeah. She looked good. She looked
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So I'm like, okay, but it's still the symbolism of like, that white girl brought that devil in. Now, I can't talk too much about it, but I'm just saying, like, I ain't just because I ain't talked about it, don't think I ain't thought about that part of it too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I really have, and I really just don't know where my mind sit with it because love is love. Like I said, I'm a love girl, but love is love. So I
Mhm,
can see that even with the little think pieces that she really did love him, but at the same
Yeah.
time, but bitch, you brought the devil in and you started that shit, and it's just like,
Yep. It's
like so it's just like you got to go back and forth with that shit. How that shit always hurt, and Stack's personality and who he fell in love with, and their personalities together, they're both firecrackers. Like all that shit, I just love the love stories in this movie.
Jasmine, you bring up a good point. You said that Stack, or excuse me, Smoke let Stack live, but when you think about it, Stack also let Smoke live.
Yeah,
mhm. They
together.
protected
Like
each
Yeah.
other.
he like even though he very clearly said like I've always protected you, blah 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 blah. Like he could have taken him out. That
Mm-hmm.
to me was what was smart. Like Ryan Coogler was like, these aren't just like demons, mindless killing machines. Like they're still them at their core.
Mhm,
Because he
Yeah.
was like, come on, we've been doing this together. I want you here with me. I'm not going to do this without you. Like it feels good. Like it was creepy as hell, but it was still like you're my brother. You're
Yeah.
like I want you here with me. And I thought that that was such a when you
mhm,
find out that he let him live, and then it sinks in that's like, oh, they both let each other live. He very clearly could have killed his brother, but there's still love
Yeah.
there, and there's still that. And bringing up Mary's part, it was like for me, even the most well-meaning white person still has the capability to bring some bullshit from a blinder. She went out there, oh, I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna see if they're good people. I'm
Right.
like the white savior kind of thing, and she had good intentions, right? I'm
mhm.
gonna be the one that goes out there. Y'all stay here. I'm gonna take care of it,
Mhm.
and
Can I
still
say
came
something?
in. Yeah,
Mhm, mhm.
like I was like, God damn, you could have just stayed in,
Right.
but
Yeah.
no.
That white savior complex for sure. They put that in there.
What were you gonna say,
See,
Shantae?
y'all making me think so many things. Okay, so the love aspect, right? Amy's love and her power is
Mm,
underestimated. Like
Hmm.
people do not realize how much Annie is like the goat in this movie because remember when Remick and them knock on the door, whatever, and then they were like going out, please, we don't we don't need you white people
yeah.
here.
Hmm.
Because race was very much a part of it. And because this twins were like, we let them in. What if somebody step on their shoe? What if,
Yep.
they bring their KKK friends? Like there had to be lines drawn, and we saw when the KKK came that they were very much on that time to kill, people of color. But when they asked, well, why is she in there, right? And he said she's family, and you saw her like put that protective hand up. And when Annie was getting bitten and killed, there was kind of a reaction from Mary and Stack,
Yeah,
and I think again the power of her spirit. You saw she had been protecting Smoke the whole time with her mojo bag
years.
and her prayers and
Yep.
everything, and her spirit was there to usher Smoke to the other side. Remember, she came with the
Yeah,
baby. She's like, she's like, we don't need that smoke on the baby. Put away the old self. Come on over to the other side. And I really think that Annie was protecting all of her family, right? She was
yeah,
protecting Mary, Stack, and Smoke. They're like two sides of the same coin. So she definitely, I think, was protecting all of them. And even though Mary and Stack got bitten, they knew who she was. They knew their family too. And I think, especially when you look at African American spirituality and like the connection between the ancestors and even concepts of like heaven and for Catholics too, Catholics pray to saints for protection all the time.
yeah,
It's very much a thing that when the Holy Spirit or like the power in somebody is real and they're anointed, there are people that you don't mess with. Even the Bible says, touch not
yeah,
mine or to do my prophets no harm. You cannot mess with people that have real love, real, prayers, real power. And Annie was one of those. So I feel like people underestimate
yeah.
Annie's levels of, power and protection and her love. Like she
Well,
had everybody saved. Even with her
Same. Yep.
knowledge, practically, when she was like, eat the garlic, do this, do that.
yeah.
So
They
yeah.
was
I
doing too
think.
much with that garlic though. If you, I mean,
Listen,
and
I would have
just
grown
eat the
up.
damn
Y'all
garlic.
just gonna have to shoot
Yeah.
me.
Right. No,
Not doing that. But I think in its simplest form, the only thing that I could think about is at the end of that movie was, I mean, we joke like there's a joking in your community that says you got a praying grandmother. But for me, seeing
Mhm.
Annie's character, it was the power of the black woman, and it was the
Mhm.
dichotomy that a black woman would sacrifice herself to ensure that the people that she loves are kept safe. And how many times have we had
Exactly.
conversations of black women are the first people that are sacrificed when we're talking about safety and we're talking about forwarding the movement and pushing things forward, but they're the ones that are praying and they've got the knowledge and they're this.
Mhm.
Everybody's seen the picture of the black woman smoking the cigarette in front of the National Guard that's pointing a gun at her to protect her man behind her. Like
Mhm.
it's those things of Annie was praying and she was calling on the ancestors to throw protection.
Mhm.
And at the moment when everybody needed a protection, she was the first one to step up and say, "This is what we're going to do." That she took charge,
Exactly.
and it kind of pissed me off that the people that were left standing were the man and the white girl that were allowed to survive at the sacrifice of the black woman who had the knowledge, who had the spirituality, who had that. And to me, it was just like you should have been the one that survived all of this. Like you had
right.
all of this, but you laid down your life so that way the people that you loved could keep fighting and keep doing this. And I just think that it was such a quiet strength that she had, and she made
Mhm.
sure, like you said, that, and they felt it too, but still I was like, she should have
Mhm.
goddamn lived.
Right.
Like goddamn it.
Why did you
I
put
wanted
on
her
the?
at the
Why
end.
did you put? I just wonder why she never wore her own. What was the thing she put on Michael B. Jordan? I mean, why I say his
The
name.
mojo bag.
The Mojo, yeah, with the Mojo bag. I just wonder why she didn't wear one, or I don't know. That was just like a fleeting thought. Like, why didn't she make her own, or did she even think about it or something? Because I would have been trying to save me too. Now I
But
don't
From
know
again,
now.
that's what
what?
reinforced it. It's like, how many
Mm,
times do black women put protection on those in their community at the expense of
yep.
their own safety?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm thinking about you. I need you to be safe. And it's
Mhm.
me. It's me over here. I'm trusting that you're going to protect me,
Yeah.
and failed. Like, he was over there fighting whatever he needed and she succumbed. I mean, don't get me wrong. She took out some people. Like, she held her own. But
She
it
did.
was, yeah. And I thought that scene between the two of them before he had to, put her out of her misery before she turned, I was like, can you just
Mhm.
do it? I don't want to see this because, like, I'm about, like, you could tell that
Mhm.
she was like, do it. Like, do it, please. Like, you promised me, do it.
And the way I would answer that, I think those are definitely valid points, but also remember Smoke respected Annie's beliefs, but I don't think he bought into them all the way. Because he asked her,
Yeah,
he's like,
Mm.
why didn't Mojo and stuff work on the baby? So I could tell that he definitely respected her and he loved her and he let her do her thing. So he had the power on him, but not in him. She
yeah,
had the power in her. So I
yeah,
think that for me, that's how I interpreted, like the Mojo bag and the protections, because it's like her soul was good. Again, she was
Yeah.
ushering him in,
yeah,
and he knew that it had the power. Because remember, he took it off when he was ready to die as well
yeah,
and
Yep.
face, the KKK people. So I just think he didn't quite believe at first, but then by the end, when you see the reverence that he had for it, and when he realized that no, this is powerful, this is gonna keep me from dying. So if I want to die, I need to take it off. That's when I think he more
yeah.
bought into it. If that makes sense. That's how
Yeah.
I read
Well,
it.
Yeah, I
and
can
it's
see that.
also sorry, Jasmine, were you going to say something?
And I was just saying I could see that.
Mm,
It also ties into like themes of just like fate. Like it
mm,
almost seems like she accepted, like she was good, like you mentioned, she was good with where she was at. Like she was practicing, she was doing, but she was still alone in her house. Her child had passed away, her man had moved on. So she had spent her years protecting others. And I think that at this, she was really the only one like that kept her cool through the whole thing. Like she had kind of accepted, like this is my, I've run my course, like I've done what I need to do. I accept whatever it is, and if it comes to it, I need you to be the one that does not allow me to become this entity, because I don't want that. I've accepted that whatever happens is going to happen. I'm not scared, I'm not sad, I'm not whatever, I know where I'm going. And
mm,
I think that, the themes of religion, it's so easy to discount her journey because she's dabbling in ancestral work and root work, and
mm,
people think it's witchcraft. But ultimately, the themes of I know where I'm going, I'm at peace with what I've done, I've led a good life, I've helped people, I'm ready to see my child. Please do not
mm,
keep me here any longer than I need to be here. I
mm,
thought that was just a very subtle but also beautiful thing that Ryan allowed this character to experience and to do, and the fact that at the end she had her child, and she was also nursing her child, like probably something that she did not get a chance to do because the child, I think, was stillborn or something. And so it was, I'm protecting you, I'm protecting my baby, like this
mm,
is my purpose. My purpose is to love and to show love and to nurture, and I am now fulfilling what my purpose is.
mm. Amen.
Yeah.
Y'all,
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
y'all did most of the things I want to talk about. So let's do this one last, just like the takeaway section, right? So we kind of talked about representation a little bit, and like, the debate on, who was and wasn't represented, right? We talked about love a little bit. So I want to talk about power and freedom. This would be the last thing, right? There's lots of different forms of power in the movie. We have, the vampire powers to live forever and all that. We have the power of music and the spirit. We got the power of the guns with the blickies wiping out the cake. From
Not the
people,
blicky.
right?
Not
Seriously, you have
the
the power of
Not the
money,
blicky.
blicky.
the pow pows, right? What do you think the film's message was about power and like true power and how to live fully in your power as a human? Like, I don't know if I should answer it first or if you guys want to jump in. Because I have some thoughts based on what you guys were saying.
um,
Jasmine?
I mean, I guess my my power would be the power of music,
Mm,
the power of um, like not, and I say evil only
mm,
because they all that evil was passed down to me, and saying his daddy was evil and he just beat the most on Stack, and
mm,
Stack, all this stuff linking to everything like that. So, but power of music and the power of culture, um,
mm,
really the scary parts, the parts just of what time period they're in, all of the power, I mean all of the things from that was people trying to take, you know take from us, or how they benefit from us, or how they
mm,
how we set the tone for things, style, music, and all these things. So I would say that for that. But I'm a music girl too. I went to performing arts school. Honey, I
Yes.
cried. I mean, I was the music girl, honey. I could have been Beyonce, but we could talk about that another day.
All right, now
Um,
let me get you a fan.
okay,
He's
but
the bar.
yeah, but how all that stuff leads to everything that was just kind of pointed in in the movie, especially Christianity
Mm,
for me. I think just to the point, like I think everything had power in it, and what you take
mm,
from it. I mean, how you relate to it is what was the most probably takeaways and the what you feel from that movie. Everybody goes into it with different expectations and eyes. I had when I was in AP English, I forgot what book we was reading, but my teacher was like, everybody has their different reading eyes.
mm,
What books would be drawn would they be drawn to? And I think about that with the movie, because I just like I said,
Mhm.
I looked at a lot of takeaways from it, a lot of insights, and just a lot it contemplate not contemplate but really just thinking about like how you fit into the culture, how you fit into the music in some way. So that would be what I think of the power and how to live with
mm.
is connected to that movie.
Yes, and I agree about the power of music. 'Cause I'm a music girl too. I said
Yeah, yes, yes.
it. Jamie, what you think?
Uh, so again, going into this movie as a guest, like I'm being invited to experience something. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie is that it's very culturally specific
Mm,
without being exclusionary.
mm,
And there are so many things about the Black community that mirror this movie.
mm,
Throughout history, you guys and your culture are always the first ones to never be exclusionary. You invite people in to share, to experience the joy with music, food, colloquialisms, like hang out. Like there's so much from your culture that is seeped into pop culture that the lines are so blurred. Like the vernacular, like people are like, oh, that's just Gen Z vernacular. It's like, no, that's AAV. Again, you were being invited as a guest. And so I think the themes of the movie are like inviting the vampires in, like Jasmine said. If we
mm,
invite you in, are you going to suck us dry? Are you going to leech off of the joy and the beauty and what we have
mm,
from our culture? Um, I left there probably thinking of the movie through a different lens, much like your friend Jasmine, being a guest and seeing things. I'm
Yeah,
looking at things through a fine tooth comb of like, I obviously know that there are messages and there are things that I need to pick up from this. And Ryan Coogler does such a phenomenal job of painting pictures and putting messages in films where you leave and you're like, I'm dissecting things. We're having a conversation about this, but also am I tripping? Like, am I thinking too much into this? Is this just a
right.
movie and I'm reading too much into it? And I think that those are the best kind of films where everybody, like Jasmine said, has their own takeaways because this is the message that you were supposed to receive, right? And I didn't pick up on certain things that Jasmine says. So when I go and watch it again, I'm going to be looking at it through a different lens to experience the film through her eyes. And I think that um for me it was such a joy to watch because there were so many things in it that pushed forward the story that at the end of it, I was just left like this wasn't a vampire movie in any way, shape, or form. Like the power of music, when Preacher Boy ends and goes to his father, and his father, rather than embracing him, is telling him to drop the guitar. Because I told you the guitar only brings evil and it brings the devil. But the guitar was the one thing that saved him, not the Lord's Prayer because the
Mm,
devil recited the Lord's Prayer right along with him and said that prayer
mm.
was also used to enslave my people and to steal our land. But the thing that
Yeah.
gave him an opportunity to escape was music, was
Mhm,
something that had been passed down from his ancestors. And religion was telling him, let it go. God is the only thing you need.
mm,
I'm not saying that that in any way, shape, or form is like you don't need God, but it's like we have to get away from indoctrination and realize that your community has survived things that were meant to destroy you because you have put so much of yourselves into so many other things and have counted on those things to carry you through. And I will say this before I go off to you, Shantae, is back to the representation. I've seen a lot of negativity or a lot of people in my community ask if we were represented, where
Mhm.
were we? Why were we in the film? And it annoys the shit out of me
Mhm.
because it's like you only critique art that we aren't represented in when it's other minorities.
Mhm.
Why is it the Black community's job to represent us on film when in our own media, the only people that are represented are my shade or lighter? Black Latinos exist. And we were represented if we want to get technical because them indigenous folks were in there. Those were us. Like, those were our people. And they said, y'all don't want our help? We gotta go.
Right.
Like they were the smart ones. But it frustrates me because I think that again, with the Chinese representation and the Asian representation and seeing where those communities have come, the takeaway is rather than fighting the system of oppression that keeps our three communities separate, we aren't looking like that's a great piece of art. How can we do that? How can we tell these stories? Teach us because we deserve that too. Not you have to put me in your movie because we deserve representation. It's how can we represent ourselves? And I really really hate that that's even a conversation because these people are missing a very beautiful movie that touched on so many themes that are universal. Is this not oppression
Mhm.
Olympics? Like, baby, there's shit going on, and we could learn from this film because music is a big part of my culture as well. Like, at its core, music is a history lesson. We're telling stories of those that came before us and those that are continuing to come. So, Jasmine, you hit it right on the head. Without music, I don't
Mm,
think this film wouldn't have been as impactful as it was. Like, music literally was the script for the
right.
entire thing.
Mhm. See, all y'all speaking my language because at the end of the day, I feel like the film was saying that true power and true freedom is when you are in a community that knows who you are and whose you are through and
Hmm.
through, and you don't get tempted or bought up by the powers that try, to break you apart and break you down. Because I'm someone who grew up in the church, and also some of the faith-based community organizing background, and
Mm,
the imagery of the vampires again needing to be let in all along. The power to say no is still with the people. There's
right.
always that element of resistance throughout the whole movie, whether it's the blues singer again, you know turning the oppression into something, channel it outwards instead of internalizing it, right?
Mm,
Or whether you are someone who uses your gifts like Sammy did it with music, and like even with the image of like the juke joint when they were all free, it was in community because you had people frying the fish in the back. You had the people making the signs. You had the people running the casino. So for me, again, there's this scripture where two or three are gathered, God is there. I really feel like we are able to be our full and our best selves in community, but you have to know who you are and whose you are. We cannot
Hmm.
forsake our ancestors. We cannot forsake the wisdom, that was passed down to us, and we got to pay it forward. Like Smoke and teaching the other kids. And I think the vampires again, they're such the perfect villain because they also represent cults that are vampiric, that take away and can be vultures. And when it comes to even jobs, like if you watch the show Severance, like you said, you started season one,
I'm so
like
far
Oh,
behind.
I was
I'm
about to.
so
I
seriously,
far behind.
saw
It's
that. I
so
there's
was
good.
like,
I'm on
yeah,
episode 2. I'm so far
corporations
behind.
suck the
mm,
soul and life out of people every day.
Yeah.
Music execs, like think of the Diddy of it all. They're sucking the talent away from people every day. Like
You saying
vampires
sucking
are
with
such
Diddy
a
is
perfect.
very,
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But like vampires is the perfect villain because
yeah.
what is not vampiric in in our society and all the structures of oppression? Again, it works taking away the power that we were born with. So
Yeah.
when we band together, when we, be our true self, and we don't forsake our ancestors or each other, that's where our power is. That's what I think. But I know y'all gotta go. So
mm.
tell the people where we can find you, what you up to before we, say peace
Oh
out.
God. So I'm on Instagram at it's Jaime, not Jamie, 83. Same thing for Blue Sky. Or you can go on over to the Lean, where Shantae is, and she posts links. You can find me there. I'm also going to be doing No Chaser TV. And as soon as I finish Severance, I'll be back to talk about it with Shantae. But I'm so far
Yes.
behind on everything in life. I'm so sorry. I'm trying.
Severance
I
is so good. Go ahead,
Oh, okay.
Jasmine.
I'm IJ Nicole. You can probably just find me on Instagram, but that's all I have, honey. I don't
She
have
said,
a.
"Don't find me. Don't
I
bother
just
me."
have IJ
Oh,
Nicole. I'm just out here teaching, and school is almost out. 3 months I'll be traveling, honey, doing Pilates,
absolutely.
and growing my edges. Period. And so that's all I got going on, honey.
Love it.
And you also do Potomac on the Lean too, right?
Yes, Potomac.
Yes, 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 yes.
I've done some. I mean, and Merit to Medicine.
Yeah.
And I've
We on
done.
hiatus.
Okay,
We
yeah,
on break.
yeah. I did Merit to Medicine, and yeah, I guess that's all I've done. But yeah, and I've on Lean. I mean, on that was on No Chaser. What was that? Was you? Did you say the Lean or No Chaser?
Either.
You be on
Either,
both.
yeah, that was
It's the
I,
same.
I was
We
I was doing both. I did both
we
on both.
co-mingling.
Look, both on both. So yeah, so that was me.
Yes, and thank
All
you
right.
both.
Of
I
course.
could not imagine better people to talk about this with because y'all know
Oh,
what's up.
thank you.
For those who don't know what's up, go watch the movie so you know what we was talking about.
So good.
Period. Because I'm watching it again. And
Listen.
Yes.
again, I'm gonna go in my lingerie this time, honey. Just
Hold
to.
on now.
I'm just playing. I'm just
But
playing.
I will leave that. I cracked up at a tweet that said, "I feel bad. Preacher Boy didn't even get a fish plate," and somebody said,
Okay.
"Oh, fish was eaten." I
Right.
Oh,
said,
oh Lord.
I will say. So normally I don't go up for like sex scenes in movies because I'm like, you could. I don't need all that. Baby, this was a little bit hot. Like, there's
Yeah.
something about it being like sweaty, and she's like, babe, I don't know. Also, this was a great looking cast.
Yeah.
Like,
It
I'm
was.
so sorry. Like, everybody was gorgeous. You like I can't even remember who was Grace's husband. I've
Yeah. He
never
was
seen it
cute.
before in my life. I was like,
He
wait,
was cute. He was
He
cute.
was
wait,
very
Wait a
wait. When he
minute now.
turned
Yeah,
into a
he was
vampire,
cute.
I said, oh, he's got a little bit of swag.
Swag
Hold
on him.
on.
I
I would have
know.
folded. I would have been
I
like,
You would
let's
did.
have
get the
I said
folded?
car. Let's
no.
You
I
would
go.
have
saw
been in
that
the
too.
car?
I would have been in that car.
Listen, I saw that too. I saw that man. Oh, he got a little pep in his step.
She did
Okay.
that little one bang that came down. He was like, "Come on,
Uh,
I got in the car." I said, "You absolutely do.
okay.
Let's go."
Y'all are hilarious.
Mm,
But
indeed.
them, I'm telling you, them vampires, they not just,
There was some
in the
sexy ones.
movie.
Yeah,
There
honey.
are some, you know,
Yeah.
metaphorical vampires. So you gotta watch out. Don't let them in. Protect your peace.
I might want, a little nibble.
Little
Never
bit,
mind.
just a little bit, a
Never
little
mind.
bit,
Never mind. Never
You're
mind.
like, let
Never
me let some.
mind. Just
just a little
No.
bit, a
A
little
little
bit.
bit.
yeah.
All right, y'all.
All right,
Well,
y'all.
remember,
It was
come back
great.
anytime. Y'all welcome here. Say how y'all felt in the comments. Always say, remember, you're the master of your fate and the captain of your soul.
Period.
All right. I know that's
Bye.
my call tagline. Yes, tagline.
Man.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.